Welcome back to Views with Hughes or Jennifer News. This is Jerome Hughes, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. So we've seen from this year so far of the different flops that Disney has taken on, or in other words, has created themselves. Okay, so Disney shared that it expended a staggering $965 million, almost $1 billion, on four of its most prominent streaming and film failures in the current year. Now, the company's been aggressively cutting expenses since its CEO, Iger himself, Bob Iger, regained control in November of last year. Now, 3 months later, he did inform investors that the necessity to curtail costs across the board due to the exorbitant nature, his words, of production expenses. Okay, but the thing is, the reality itself is not overstated. So now we see that Bob Iger, he was cutting costs and stuff to the company itself, laying off over 7,000 employees, both on low ends as well as high positions too. And there's also some cancer projects like Willow from Disney Plus streaming platform, and then we have like the number of movies that's been flopping under Marvel Studios, Lucasfilm, as well as Pixar. Okay. But we're talking about right here the main four ones that's been happening in recent times, if not months. Okay. But that being said, the budgets traditionally for movies and streaming shows were kept confidential, kept within the overall studio expenses without detailed breakdown of any individual expenditures. Now, however, an exception is seen in the UK-based productions where separate companies must be established for each project, entitling them to a cash reimbursement of up to 25% of their UK expenditures. These companies are obliged to file financial statements shedding light on their spending. So you mean to tell me that the only way that these can be come into light is the fact that because it's in a different country and it's not American? Interesting move, Disney. Interesting move. Now, capitalizing on this incentive, Disney has increasingly chosen the UK as a filming location. This year, the studio's costliest releases were produced there. Yet they also turned out to be some of the poorest performers, or in other words, the biggest flops. Now, this sequence of disappointments commenced with the February release of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is from Marvel Studios, from Phase 5 of the MCU. Despite the lackluster reviews, Disney spared no expense, which cost would fund a total of $193.2 million into pre-production and filming. The film's CGI drew a lot of criticism, and it grossed $476.1 million globally, less than its predecessors, like Wakanda Forever, for example. While Quantumania initially yielded a profit of $81.9 million, which is sad after factoring in reimbursement of $37 million, which is really sad, its substantial post-production costs could plunge it into deficit in the upcoming financial statements. Now, in May, the live-action adaptation of The Little Mermaid had a potential for success, but ended up struggling. The film was known for being woke, by selling its woke narrative and an unsettling CGI portrayal of once charming characters. By August 31st, 2021, Disney's UK subsidiary Sandcastle Pictures has expended $265.5 million on the project. Now, the cost exceeded projections due to potential COVID-19 impacts, or so they say. And the company received a furlough grant and cash reimbursement from the UK government. Disney net spending on the film stood at $212 million, yielding a $70 million profit from its share of the box office. Nevertheless, the pending post-production costs could lead to further financial strain. All right. With that being said, this doesn't really look too confidential for upcoming projects like the Marvels that's hitting theaters this November. But we'd like to go ahead and also talk about the failure of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Okay. Now, June saw the premiere of Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny. Now, there was anticipation, which was really high for its fifth installment of the Indiana Jones series, boosted by trailers showcasing the digitally rejuvenated Harrison Ford. In other words, the deep fake Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. However, the film's production was far from economical, with a reported expenditure of $294.7 million. Okay? Necessitating a box office gross of $477.8 million for the company to break even. Although the film garnered $357.9 million in revenue, and pending post-production expenses could result in a loss. And then came Secret Invasion. Disney Plus, a streaming show based on a beloved Marvel Comics series. Despite its potential, the show's serious tone, narrative gaps, a subpar CGI led to unfavorable reception, culminating the lowest rated episode of any Marvel streaming series. Now, the show was filmed in the UK, as we can see and tell, carried a budget of $211.6 million. Now, together, these four productions have generated a bill of $965 million, close to $1 billion, largely excluding post-production expenses. Now, the pressure is on Bob Iger to rein in spending, but without an improvement in audience reception, success is far from guaranteed. So, no one is to blame except Bob Iger himself. He's approved of all of these different projects and everything, and he could have just went on ahead and stopped it, but it's possible due to contractual obligations that couldn't go on through. So then it comes back to the fact that he shouldn't have gotten to approve all of these things, let alone not have an agenda that will lead to these different projects, okay? Namely, Secret Invasion. Okay? But Secret Invasion is a failure on so many levels, and this is and that was because the series itself for that one season averaged out between 10 to 15% of approved ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, a lot of people was tired of Disney. There's some out there, small number, who still have hope for Disney, for things to be turned around, with Nelson Peltz being still behind the scenes and stuff. But quite frankly, I mean, the stock is down. It's now averaging like $85 a share, compared to previous years being over $100-something, like almost $200 a share. And it used to be a monster. It used to be dominant until, more people started waking up to the fact that Disney became political. Disney became woke. But that being stated, I mean, this is all on Disney because of the simple fact that Disney should have actually done better by the audience to just simply go ahead and continue to make content that's just for entertainment and not put out there any particular political gesture or political motive or ideology that the audience does not share. And when I say that, the audience wants something that's apolitical. We're not actually looking for any agendas. We're not looking to see ourselves in certain heroes of the movies or characters in any movies and shows. So there's no need to race swap anything or gender swap anything. Because the simple fact that the audience has shown and proven time before that this is not what we want. And now, with the fact that Disney's been spending over almost $1 billion on to content and everything, while other companies spending less than that but raking in much more, then Disney has something to like actually had to do a course correction. That's why Bob Iger brought back those two advisors, so that way corrections can be made at the company. Not to mention, Lucasfilm is in a bit of trouble as it is. They've already let go, and this is a rumor, they've already let go a certain lead production staff member who's a Kathleen Kennedy loyalist. So if that's true and they've been fired, because recently there was a job posting available for that company, so most likely means that they've been let go. And if that's the case, And if it's true, Lucasfilm may be looking to make some layoffs and stuff with those who are in the front office. Okay, so let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Let me know what went wrong in the video. Also, be sure to include any additional thoughts that you might have within this video. If you enjoy what I shared in the video, go ahead and smash the like button, share it far wide across social media. If you enjoyed all the content I put out there and on this channel, go ahead, subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. Until then, peace.